Hi, so we're on video number 4 for your summer work, and today we're going to be talking about exponents and scientific notation. Again, remember, this is all things that you should have seen. If you haven't, make sure you let me know that, okay? All right, so an exponent is actually a number, the power to which something is raised. So we would call this number 2 the base, okay? And we would call that 8 that is being raised to, we'd call that the exponent. And the whole thing, the entire expression, we would call it a power. Okay? And this is read 2 to the 8th power. Or we could also say 2 to the 8th. Okay? And it means 2 times 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 2. So it means 2 multiplied 8 times. 3 to the 5 power means 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 multiplied by itself 5 times. It does not mean 3 times 5. N to the 4 power means n times n times n times n. So it's n multiplied 4 times. Now this one's different. You have to be really careful. There are no parentheses. So that cube, that 3, we also call it a cube, is only being raised to the y. It's almost that 3 is only attached to the y. So this is actually 2 times y times y times y. Now, it's different, however, if I put it in parentheses. Then the entire quantity is being raised to the 2 power. So this would be 2t times 2t, okay, which is actually 4t squared. So noticing that 2 is also being squared. All right, it's tricky. I can be tricky when I put a negative inside the parentheses. You have to remember that negative 2 is being squared. So it becomes positive, and that would be 4t squared. So notice these two worked out to be exactly the same, okay? All right, so we also have to be able to write using exponential notation. So if you see 7 multiplied 4 times, that would be written as 7 to the 4 power. N written 4 times. I want you to think about them all having an exponent of 1, and you're just adding their exponents. So that would be n to the 4 power. All right. 2 times y times y times y times y would be 2y to the 4th. That 2 isn't part of the exponent because the y's are what's being raised to the 4th power. 15p times 15p times 15p times 15p. Great place to use parentheses. 15p to the 4 power. Okay, the whole quantity to the 4 power. All right, now that we remember what exponents are, we can now evaluate using exponents. So evaluate, remember, means just find the value when we substitute a number in. All right, so we're going to substitute 2 in for x. So it's 2 to the 4 power. That means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. This is actually 2 to the 4 and 2 to the 3 and 2 to the 5. Those are what I'd love to call algebra math facts, and we're going to talk about that this year in class, okay? All right, 2y squared. Now I'm going to put that 3 in parentheses. Then I realize that the 3 is the only part being squared. 3 squared is 3 times 3, which is 9, so I have 2 times 9, which gives me 18. All right, a couple more. R to the 4th power plus 2. I'm going to substitute 2. Put it in parentheses, raised to the 4 power, so 2 to the 4 power. All right, 2 to the 4 means 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is 16. 2 to the 4 power is 16. Again, that's that algebra math fact I'd really love for you to know. And then 16 plus 2 gives me 18, okay? All right, a couple more. Oh, look at this one. Start it. 3a cubed. So 3a is in parentheses, and a is equal to 2. So that means I'm going to do 3 times 2 cubed. Because remember, if there's no symbol there, it is multiplication. So 3 times 2 is 6, and 6 cubed. 6 cubed means 6 times 6 times 6. All right, well, 6 times 6 is 36. And then 36 times 6, I'm going to help you out here. Well, it has to end in a 6. And it actually works out to be 216. So 6 cubed, again, an algebra math fact, 216. All right, they're going to get more difficult. But remember, as long as you put them in parentheses, it'll make it easier for you, okay? So 3, I'm going to put that 2 in parentheses. I'm going to evaluate. I'm going to do this. Now here, on this one, I'm not going to put parentheses because I'd have too many. All right, so I do 2 cubed, which is 8, because I have to do exponents before multiplication. Remember GEMDAS. Don't even think about multiplying 3 times 2 here. Don't even think about it. You have to do exponents before multiplication. All right, so 3 times 8 gives me 24. Now I go to the other side. I've got parentheses, so 2 squared is 4. So 2 times 4 is 8. And now I can evaluate that. I can add them together and get 32. All right, one more of these. Now I can make it harder by giving you multiple variables. So just be careful when you're substituting the variables in. You put the right one in. All right, so we've got 5 times 3 squared times 1 plus 1 squared. 1 squared. All right, so 5 times 3 is 15. 15 squared times 1. 15 squared is 225. Again, I am going to be expecting you to know 15 times 15 times 1 just gives me 225 plus 1 squared means 1 times 1, which is 1. So 226. All right, the last thing, and I didn't write this in your notes, so right below that you have some room. I want you to take some notes on scientific notation. All right, so scientific notation is just a way for scientists to handle very small or very large numbers. For example, instead of writing 0.0000345, we can write it in scientific notation as 3.45 times 10 to the negative 6 power. Why? Because I moved the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places. Now this number here, how come I wrote it as 3.45? Couldn't I written as 34.5? Well, in scientific notation, this number has to be between 1 and 9. Or 1 and 10, sorry, 1 and 10. So it has to be less than 10 and greater than 1, okay? So that's why I had to do 3.45, because 34 would be too big. All right, so notice also it was a very small number. The decimal was here. It gave me a negative exponent. Let's look at some examples. All right, 27,350,000,000. I could write it like that, but with scientific notation, I'm going to start with 2.735. Okay, that's what I want. Now, this is a big number, so I'm going to be using a positive exponent on the 10. So I count the decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I would be moving the decimal place from here to here 10 places, so that would be 10 to the 10 power. All right, 0.00125. Okay, I'm making a smaller number, so it's going to be a negative exponent. The decimal point would have to go there, so 1.25. It has to be bigger than 1, less than 10. I move that decimal place 1, 2, 3, 4 places, so it would be 10 to the negative 4, okay? All right, here I've got a very small number, so again, it's going to be a negative exponent, and I'm going to write, I need the decimal to be right there. So 3.786. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it would be times 10 to the negative 6. All right, I have another big number. So this is going to be, I want 8.94. It's going to be, 8.94. It's going to be a positive exponent. So from here, I'm moving the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 places. So 10 to the 8 power. All right, guys, that's it for today. Have a great night.